Who were Dunk's parents? One of the few things that we know about Dunk's life before Sir Arlen found him was that he was living in Flea Bottom, and that he never knew his mother or father. So as far as we know, he was an orphan. He also doesn't even know how old he is.
How old are you, sir? Near 20, if it please my lady. Dunk liked the ring of 20. The most like he was a year younger, maybe 2.
One passage reads that no one knew for certain, that he must have had a mother or father, but he never knew them, and that no one in Flea Bottom ever cared much about it. He does at several times think of himself as a bastard, or at least that he could be one. At one point, Egg is talking to Dunk about how Aegon IV legitimized all his bastards, and how the High Septon had counseled his father Maekar never to put any trust in any bastard, great or small. Then Dunk instantly thinks to himself, born to betrayal, born of lust and weakness. He then asked Egg if he had ever thought that Dunk might be a bastard. When the boy denies the idea, Dunk replies that he might be, and that he never knew what became of his mother, or that maybe he killed her during childbirth, that most likely she was a whore or tavern girl. In the mystery night, while Dunk is talking to Glendon Ball, as he called himself, his legitimate name was Glendon Flowers, as he was a bastard.
Busted.
His father was Quentin Ball, who fought alongside Daemon Blackfyre in the rebellion. But even so, Dunk felt a certain kinship with him. For all he knew, his mother was a whore as well. One could say that that might be it, and that Dunk is just one more bastard of the realm. But as we all know, George leaves clues in his stories. For example, in the book The World of Ice and Fire, a companion book to the Ice and Fire series, in it, Dunk is not talked about that much, but the few times that he is, it's only brief. Here they mention his fight against Daemon III, where it says, slain by the Kingsguard knight, Ser Duncan the Tall. Ser Duncan of the Kingsguard defeated Lionel Baratheon in single combat, but if you search back to the very first mention of Dunk, Baelor Breakspear, cut down in his prime, in a trial of 7, in which Baelor fought on behalf of a lowly hedge knight, of no parentage of note. They didn't have to put that last part in. It seems they want us to know that his parentage is unknown, and I don't think George really wrote Dunk as some random hedge knight. I know I might be looking too deep into things here, but Dunk is the main character of the story, and he is an orphan, possibly a bastard, from King's Landing. It's important to remember the amount of bastards in the stories that end up having an important background or even a secret royal bloodline. Maybe, just maybe, Dunk could be a secret Targaryen.
No.
So, if we go by the very little information the 3 books give us, we can assume that Dunk's mother was most likely not of high birth. But what about Dunk's father? When Dunk starts to reminisce of his father or what became of him, he remembers the pot shop in King's Landing where he used to sell them rats, cats, and pigeons. The cook always claimed that his father was some thief, that he was most likely hanged, or maybe that they just sent him to the wall. I could sit here and guess 10 people, but I'm gonna keep it short and say just one. Mr. Rebel himself, Daemon Blackfyre. He's described as tall, powerful, and muscular, and yes, he was married to a Rohan of Tyrosh, the marriage that produced all of the Blackfyre pretenders. But the marriage was forced on him by his late father, Aegon the Unworthy. The king, who desired an alliance with Tyrosh, had negotiated the wedding, but after dying and legitimizing all the bastards, the next king in line, Daeron II, kept the promise and had his younger half-brother Daemon wed to Rohan of Tyrosh. But there were rumors that Daemon had always had a passion for his half-sister Daenerys, and that she loved him back. Blackfyre supporters claimed that as part of the original agreement, Aegon the Unworthy had promised his bastard son Daemon that he would be allowed to have more than one bride. But after King Daeron refused him that right, he gave the hand of his sister Daenerys to Meryn Martell to secure an alliance with Dorne. Some say that this was the final straw that made Daemon decide to rebel. But also I have to mention that Daenerys got married in 187 AC, and Daemon didn't rebel until 9 years later in 196 AC. So Daemon, tall, handsome, bad boy of Westeros that wanted multiple wives, lived happily married in monogamy for 9 years.
No.
I mean, even his father, King Aegon IV, was the most famous womanizer in all of Westeros. Dunk being born around 191 or 192 AC, and Daemon starting his rebellion in the year 196, this would make sense, but would really make things crazy. Since Daeron II and Daemon were brothers, or half-brothers, that would mean Dunk and Baelor were cousins, and that this whole time Egg had been traveling around with his uncle Dunk.
I thought you were like me, he said. Might be you are, only not the way I thought. We're both from King's Landing still, the boy said hopefully. Dunk had to laugh. Yes, you from the top of Aegon's Hill and me from the bottom. That's not so far, sir,